Alright, and this is being done on Mixler for the sake of YouTube because I don't have a video camera right now to really do things. Unfortunately, this also allows me to babble a little more too, so we're going to be getting it done here right now. So here we go again with another big deal here as we are getting it done here one more time. This is about the WWE and Tough Enough, and I've entitled this one WWE Tough Enough, the ZZ Effect. And I know some people are going to really disagree with me. I argued with a lot of people on Twitter where this one goes. Hell, I even argued with ZZ himself where he goes. But and I'm not personally knocking ZZ. I think you got to chalk things up to a couple of things. The main thing being the fact that ZZ's young. He's only 18, so he's still a kid. He impressed as far as his own gimmick goes and what he could do in the ring, and the fact that he really did step it up because I think he got a chance to look at what was said about him by the coaches, and I think he really realizes the fact that he needs to shape up. He needed to shape up there. He did step it up. Still wasn't that much. But I do want to talk about this whole Tough Enough series and the ZZ Effect and really what it did and what the reality of this is. And there is a big reality where ZZ goes. The reality that he never was that good in Tough Enough. He did step it up there at the end. He did make for an enjoyable match. He probably won slightly over Josh where it goes. But ZZ really, I think, became more the distraction to what made Tough Enough not the enjoyable thing to watch. And some people who would take this reality competition a little more seriously. And why do I say this? I say this because of the fact that this is a guy who should have been eliminated week one. He should have been eliminated. And I'm not singling ZZ out because, truthfully, the one who won on the female side of Tough Enough, I think really should have been eliminated. I think the two finalists for the women in Sara Lee, I will stay with Sara Lee where this goes. I think really hurt the direction of things and what things were supposed to be done in Tough Enough. Reality is Sara Lee ZZ shouldn't have been a finalist. When you were getting to the top three, in both cases, I still don't know what the IWC, and I'm not calling it WWE Network, I'm going to call it the IWC. Let's just tell it like it is. Let's just tell it like it is here. And let's just be honest and be truthful here. The reality is that Tough Enough sucked because we added in the element of the viewership voting, and the IWC did not take this thing seriously. They went with ZZ. I mean, you could get as cliche as you want to get with it, with the whole underdog, wanting to root for the underdog. Say that all you want. But reality is, this man should have been eliminated. The fact that ZZ would get all these votes, and you see too many worthy people getting eliminated, I think in the end it did show that more people did favor Josh over ZZ. especially when you look at the last couple weeks. And truthfully, I think between the judges and between the coaches, they spent a good 7 to 8 weeks wondering why this guy is still there. Why does he keep getting the most votes to be saved? He was up for elimination so many times for a reason. And I gotta say it. And I will say it. And I will say it. ZZ sucks. Now, that's not to say that ZZ doesn't deserve a fair chance in wrestling. He's young. I will say this, when I found out his age, I realized that this is a kid who needs to be taught more. To me, he didn't put I don't think he went into this thing understanding things. He talked about the physicalness of the whole thing, and that it wasn't registering to him that this is wrestling. There is a physical side to this. So he never really showed that heart. He kept messing up in the ring. He made people look bad, primarily Mata. And what did this guy do? I think this made for the worst season of Tough Enough because, and it's not just that, it's ZZ, it's Sara Lee, it's the IWC having the biggest say in this manner. I think the changeover from Hulk Hogan to The Miz, due to the Hulk Hogan controversy, had a lot to do with it. I think The Miz, I hope he never judges another Tough Enough again, because I don't think he took things seriously enough. I really don't. And people are gonna hate me for this, but your finalist out of the women should have been Christine, Daria, and Gigi. Those should have been your finalists out of the women. The men, the top three should have been. The top three should have been Mata, Patrick, and Josh. Josh was there. If those guys got to get more time in, it would be hard to deny them. It would be very hard to deny them. So I'm going to say that. And I think if you really wanted to look at this, if people really took this thing seriously, that are supposed to be the smart wrestling fans that know it all, were to look at this thing, the two finalists at the end should have been probably the one who stood the best chance at beating Josh, and I think probably could have beaten Josh, and that was Mata. People talked about their grief about the whole thing. I thought this was a very bad year for Tough Enough. I think this was a very bad season for it. I kind of liked how the format was during the Steve Austin time, where Tough Enough goes. I think the casting for this Tough Enough in reality was done a lot better because of the wrestlers, because of the guys who are really hungry for this, what they really have with it. But Josh, what won people over with Josh was he showed the most heart. He showed the most heart. But those were what you really should have had. Mata has the look and has the drive. He didn't have the pageantry that Patrick has. Patrick knows how to perform, but he has that one little miss. He was definitely better than someone like Tanner. As far as Amanda goes and Sara Lee goes, If this were the WWE Diva search, then I would totally agree with those two being finalists. Chelsea, yeah, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, yeah, Chelsea was the name I meant, not Christine. But yeah, Chelsea should have been there. I think Chelsea and Gigi should have been the finalists, with Daria being there, being just simply in the top three and probably being the last one eliminated before you got to the finals. But Sara Lee and Amanda, like I said, if this were a Diva search, they both would, then I would say they both would deserve to be finalists. But The Miz is what really helped Amanda. I think he intentionally fooled. I think he intentionally fooled the other two judges, especially especially where Paige goes, because I think she would have been eliminated. I think Chelsea, when you look at athletic ability, would have been the only one that would have made for a tough decision between her and Gigi. Daria, she comes more from MMA, and I think more people are starting to frown on MMA more so than anything else. So I think that plays a role in all this. So I'm going to say that. I'm also going to say that maybe I think if I had to choose anyone to win, it should have been Chelsea, even over Gigi. But truth is, when you look at what you saw with Tough Enough, things primarily surrounded ZZ and the fact that he was getting all these votes. You look at Billy Gunn, you look at Booker T, you look at Lita. They're saying it. Get him off their show. There's a reason why he's in the bottom three all the time. And why was he being saved? I have not seen anyone make a solid defense for ZZ. And even ZZ was trying to win things over and one person even tried to say, I'm just jealous of ZZ. I'm 41 years old. ZZ's an 18-year-old kid trying to make it in WWE, yet he did not put in the time. He did not put in the effort. He did not, he just barely showed the work ethic. I will admit his match for what it was, which was a tiny match that only went about 2-3 minutes. Same thing with Josh. That made him look good, but if you had him going there as a wrestler you'd want to take seriously and put him in there like that, would he have won? The answer is no. The answer is no. I mean, he created something that was more him, which I thought was good. But I have to say that if anyone was really looking at himself and saying, if I'm going to do this, I got to think superstar, but at the same time, I got to think wrestling as it is for me right now, it was Josh. I argued with someone who tried telling me that ZZ did everything better than Josh and should have won. I disagree with that. Look at ZZ. I saw the way he dressed himself up, and the only thing that went through my mind was, holy Bastion Booger. Holy Bastion Booger. This is the wrong attire for him. He wore something that reminded me more of what Ricky Steamboat did with the dragon thing. I don't want to say there's anything wrong with that, but he sucked on the mic, put me to sleep on the mic, really, and his entrance was too long and drawn out and made no sense for him to do it that way. Where with Josh, his entrance was great. he had a good look, but he needs to tweak it as far as his ring attire and his appearance. So I think you got that to look at with Josh. I think so, let's look at this for what it is. That's what I gotta say. Josh started off very weak on the mic, but then he started to intensify, and then you saw the passion in him. So Josh won on entrance and mic. I'm going to say that they were pretty even as far as what they did. Again, a 2-3 minute match doesn't mean anything, which is also another reason why I think this Tough Enough made no sense. Usually Tough Enough is done a few months ahead, and you get to see them build up over a period of 10 weeks, sometimes even longer, some even 12 weeks. If they're going to choose one guy, one girl, I think they should have had an elimination go each week, but they needed it to be that I would have had 24. I would have had 24 people, 12 men, 12 women, and just really get them to learn the process of it going forward. So I want to say that, where that goes, and that's what they really needed to do. Kind of like what they were doing there. But I think The Miz really pulled a lot of swerves as a judge, and I think Amanda would have originally been eliminated after she had gotten saved if he didn't make the comment that he made. But I gotta say, Sara Lee winning, I'm going to admit to one thing. Sara Lee was very creative with her character and what she wanted her persona to be. I think when you look at the creative end of it, I think she did very well. But I think Sara Lee needs some work. I think Sara Lee will probably spend time in NXT. Personally, this is where I thought it should have been Mata in the finals. Because if Mata would have won, you still would have seen Josh signed. And you would have seen them both spend at least 3 to 6 months in NXT before you saw them move over. I mean, you had a lot of great names that didn't win Tough Enough that went on to become stars. The Miz is probably the name people remember most. John Morrison's probably the best name that won on Tough Enough. But, it's really... it's really almost endless to see where things went with Tough Enough as far as where people stood. Because too many worthy people did get eliminated. I still think Patrick and Mata were the best of the bunch that got eliminated really early. I think you'll eventually see Patrick. I think he's going to do some time in the independents. I think Mata. I think eventually you'll see him in WWE. Personally, I think Chelsea will be back. I don't know if Gigi will. I think Gigi's one of those that can do things on the independent circuit and maybe in ROH or TNA. But I gotta say that if anyone's really going to come back, it's going to be Christine. I think they're going to really try, and I think Amanda will be back too. you'll see them again. I think but this is where people are going to often ask me, what do I think about Sara Lee? Do I think Sara Lee's going to make it? I think she stands a chance. If she puts heart and soul into her character and maybe is willing to grow up and make some changes, maybe. ZZ, and I'm going to be nice about this with ZZ. I think ZZ needs to go to Heartland Wrestling, learn through Les Thatcher, and really take the pounding that it's going to take to really become a pro wrestler. That's what I think. But all in all, I got to say that this was probably one of the worst years for Tough Enough. If you could have had this cast in the season 5 edition of Tough Enough with Trish Stratus, Booker T, and Bill DeMott, and of course with Steve Austin making the final decision, I think it would have come down to Patrick, and Josh in the end. And I think with the way they were handling that one, I think they really would have been able to push it to where after everything's all said and done with whatever time of gap was between that and what they were going to do live with Tough Enough, you could have done something right there at the arena with them as finalists and gotten it done. I heard that the Diva Search is coming back. Sounds like something that ought to be on UPN or the CW network, rather, whatever you want to call it. But I heard the Diva Search is coming back. Like I said, if this were a Diva Search, Amanda and Sara Lee would have been great for it. Unfortunately, this was Tough Enough. And I think too much was done about the underdog. I think people weren't taking things seriously where ZZ goes and kept him in there. ZZ should have been lucky to make it to week 2. And that's it. And ZZ, because I am going to hashtag your name and send this to you, ZZ. If you don't like what I'm saying, you know how to get in touch with me, bud. I'm going to tell you right now, you're a kid. I think you should try to get in touch with Les Thatcher. Learn through him in Heartland Wrestling. And just get your act together. Drop off some weight, build up some muscle, and get yourself together. I'm sorry to say this, but I think Josh should have won against you like he did. And he did. I think the only one that stood the better chance of being better than Josh, if you were looking at it from a wrestler's standpoint, of how it would have been done, it would have been Mata. If you don't like what I'm saying, you don't like what I'm saying. And to the ZZ apologists out there, the ZZ fans, the senseless fans that really went with ZZ for no reason, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for what I'm saying here. This has nothing to do with loving or hating ZZ. This has to do with the fact that he was not the best choice. He should have been gone. If this show were done originally the way Tough Enough were done, they would have just simply kicked ZZ out of the house. I'm sorry to say that. He may have turned it on, but too little too late, and it was not enough. And with that being said, I'm going to say this, because it is over for me, as far as my babbling about Tough Enough goes. But, that's it for me here. I did my 3 here. I will be coming back with my regular show of Wacko in the Morning real soon. It's all good. It's all good. I think we all can agree that this is something that I think we all could safely look at and say we could say was probably not the best Tough Enough. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it. If it wasn't for the fact that Josh won, if Josh is a success, then Tough Enough comes back. If he's not, then I don't know if it's worth it to bring Tough Enough back. I really don't. The Miz was a terrible judge, terrible replacement. If you had a Ric Flair or a Shawn Michaels or even Triple H himself take over, I think an outcome would have been much different. So that's my thoughts on this, and if people don't like it, they don't like it. I mean, ZZ could contradict everything and have Triple H come in and say, well, this is what Triple H said. Not worried about it. Not worried about it. So that's that. Thanks for listening. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Tough Enough was a terrible show this time.